Evening VC. Alright, I'm pumping out these end of year videos while I have the opportunity. My best finds of the year, which I don't know how I'm even going to do that, will be at the end of the year after the dig in Rochester. I'm always find some of the best stuff I'm going to find up there, so we'll wait to do that then. This will kind of be like a Maslow type video. This will be best reissues of 2022, archival releases, live releases, stuff that got put out this year that I picked up. There's quite a bit here. I'm going to try to not take a whole lot of time on each one. The first is Tortoise TNT. This is a record. I'd love to get an original, but they're pricey, so this kind of stuff I'm very happy to pick up a reissue of. And this is a double LP on green. Jeff Parker on guitar, fantastic. Chicago, Thrill Jockey Records originally, and I think, well, yeah, and reissued by Thrill Jockey. I'll show you the wax on this. And I don't know if you can hear that, but somebody is really bumping in their vehicle outside. So you got some bumping going on. But there's that with the custom labels. A lot of reissues getting done on color vinyl now. It's just the way the market is. Some of it sounds great, some of it don't. It just depends. This sounds pretty good. So yeah, Tortoise. I always would look at their stuff in media play back in the day on CD, and I don't know why I never picked it up. I should have. Next, this is a great reissue. The 25th anniversary of I Can Hear the Heart Beating As One by Yo La Tengo. What a great album this is. Was very happy to see this released. This is also on color vinyl on yellow. I saw this band at Fredonia. They played Fredonia Fest. They were one of the openers for Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds. However, they didn't get to play on the main stage. They had to play on the ground under a tent, kind of in the grass with, I don't know, get some, if I remember, there was like some rugs down and stuff for the drummer. They were still great. Really, really nice people to meet from New York. Been around a long time. Great indie stuff. That's a really good record. Next is a band that I've seen live the most in my life. There was a stretch where I saw every single show that came to North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia. It didn't matter where they were. If they were in any of the 3 states, I was there for the gig. Some of the best gigs too, like the night Lateralus was released, they played only like 4 or 5 dates in the States before going to Europe, and they played Atlanta at the Tabernacle in an old church, closed with Opiate in an old church. Think about that. And it was just them. They didn't have an opener that night. And they premiered like a video off of Lateralus. It was crazy. And they did like an intermission, 2 sets. But Tool, Fear Inoculum, the big old box. This was, I think, originally came out in 2019. I got the CD then with the TV in it and all that. But this is the big old box. I haven't even opened it yet. I don't know why. I got to get to it. I got the CD in the car, so it's been like, oh, do I really need to crack that yet? I need to do it though and see how it sounds. I'm sure it sounds amazing. And it's kind of an underrated record. I think it's really good. Danny Carey is a god on drums. Next, this band finally reissued a lot of its catalog, and a lot of people have been waiting for them to do it, and that was the Mars Volta. So you've got the Bedlam and Goliath here, double LP. Omar Rodriguez Lopez Productions with Clouds Hill put these out, and they did a hell of a job on these. High quality reissues. And then Nocturnicate, this one gets out there for them, some wild stuff in Mars Volta. Great cover on this one. And then one that's difficult to find, Landscape Tantrums, the unfinished original recordings of Deloused in the Comatorium. And I was surprised they remastered and reissued this one. which was very cool. They used original mixes on these songs, and this is some of the best stuff from the Mars Volta. I love this release. So I was happy they reissued those. Another band that reissued some of its catalog from Los Angeles, Black Rebel Motorcycle Club. Love this band. One of the best rock bands going. They've been around a while. They did these on 45 RPM microgroove stereo mixes. Beat the Devil's Tattoo. This is one of my favorite records from them. Fantastic rock band. Got to record them audio-wise at Tremont. My friend Joe did. And yeah, from their first stuff, that was killer. I have that CD here. They also did Spectre at the Feast, and another great one. Yeah, these are two fantastic albums from Black Rebel. Highly recommend these. They were done very well. BMG, Vagrant. This was a cool archival release that Sonic Youth put out, In, Out, In. Some kind of rare, rare stuff. I really dig this. Really, it was quite varied record, this Sonic Youth, this stuff. Colored vinyl on this. I think there were two different colors, maybe, on the cover and everything. There's an insert. I'll show you the record on this one. Most everything's colored vinyl now. This one's like an auburn color or something. But this was a surprisingly great release. I didn't know what to expect from it. But I love Sonic Youth, so I picked that up. And it was cheap, so that was a really good one. Some good live stuff. From the OCs. They did these levitation sessions, and these are really good. If you've ever seen OCs live, you know what I'm talking about with the double drums being killer. So yeah, this one kind of out in the fucking, I don't know, where'd they record this one? Out in Pioneer Town, California, middle of nowhere. And then another one, this one's a double. This is the Levitation Sessions 2. This one's live at a factory in downtown LA. A much different sound on this one, just with the acoustics. But those are really good. Who put these out? I forget. Anyway, those are, I've been seeing those a lot in record stores. This one I think was a record store day reissue, Wipers, Over the Edge. Great stuff. Very influential band on Nirvana, bands like that. I'd love to get more stuff from the Wipers. I'd like to get their original records instead of reissues, but they're really spendy and hard to find in good shape. So this was a nice one. One of my favorite bands I've seen a bunch of times live, and you'll know it's by the Trail of Dead from Austin. And this one is the Century of Self. And I'm not sure if this was done by Svart out of Europe. And I was surprised that they put this out. They put a lot of Finnish stuff out, I think. But yeah, Conrad Keeley does all the artwork from the band, and this is more amazing artwork of his. And an underrated record for Trail of Dead. Really dig their stuff. Live gig, live in Malmo from Motorhead from the year 2000. This Lost Tape series, this was an RSD double LP. All these have been fantastic. You got, all the best stuff on here. Ace of Spades, Overkill to close it out. This is one that Dylan and Noble Records championed, and for good reason. This is a killer rock record from the 70s. I think originally from 76. You're going to spend 4 figures on an original. This is Truth and Janie, No Rest for the Wicked. My friend Joe dug this too when I sent him like a YouTube clip of this or something. But this reissue is pretty good. Who put this out? Vintage or somebody like that? I'm not sure. It sounds good though. That's just a great cover. You got the hand coming up onto the Marshall stack there out of the ground. You got another live monster record here. Live Stream Obscene Volume 1 from Melvins. This is a triple LP. Some great live shit on this from Melvins. And I got this at the gig when I went up there to Carborough to Cat's Cradle with my friend Lee to see them. I've seen Melvins 2 or 3 times this year. They come around here quite a bit, which, you know, they're out of, you know, Washington, so it's nice that they come to the East Coast a lot. And then lastly here in the rock department, this is an original is $300, so I'm never going to buy an original. Nail Bomb Point Blank Music on Vinyl put this one out. I'm not a huge fan of music on vinyl, but it's a pretty good one. Originally on Roadrunner. You've got, this is from Max Cavalera from Sepultura, and Alex Newport from Fudge Tunnel out of the UK. This fucking super group. This is a hell of a fucking heavy-ass great record. Now you move on to, we'll move on to punk. Since we're in the rock vein, some good punk reissues this year. I think this is the second album from the X from the Netherlands, Tumult. Very difficult to find record, so I was happy Superior Viaduct did some of the X catalog. And surprised, they usually don't touch this kind of stuff, this old great punk stuff, so they did. I love this fucking band. I got to see them in Barcelona. They were amazing. That's I think the first band, one of the first bands we saw that day on one of the bigger stages. Archival release here. This was Record Store Day stuff from Iggy Pop live from Berlin, Germany. From what, 1991? Yeah. So yeah, this is a great gig. This is a double LP. Search and Destroy, I Want to Be Your Dog. Great stuff on this. It's a pretty good sounding live gig. My friend Santi from Spain's band finally got this reissued by B-Core. Jordy finally put this out. I begged him to do it. But it's the Coordinates of Saint Feliu de Guios here, and from No More Lies. And this had only ever been on CD. And this was the 15th anniversary, remastered. They did a color vinyl version and a regular black version, and I had to get both because I'm a completist with them. And then they also, and they did this on Spanish Record Store Day when they do these. They reissued the 20th anniversary of Memories Collector from Standstill, who I saw play in Barcelona. One of the most amazing shows I've ever seen in my life. Fantastic. Yeah, Enrique Monofusco, the lead singer and guitarist, he's putting out another solo album this year. I don't know if we're going to get it by the end of the year because the vinyl was delayed. The CD has come out. It will be up there for one of my albums of the year, but I already did that video, so... and I know Norman Maslow also ordered a copy of Enrique Monofusco's new record. But this is different stuff. This is more rock. Yeah, Memories Collector. And one of their best, they had switched to English on this. Dead Man Picture being a great song. Highly recommend checking it out. Yeah, look up that video for Dead Man Picture from Standstill out of Barcelona. They changed their sound quite a bit over the years. They were a hardcore screamo type band at first, and then got into this more rock stuff, and then switched to singing in Catalan and got more traditional Spanish style music. Great band, one of the best. Been at it a long time. Got this live record from Black Flag, live at the On Broadway, July 23rd, 1982. And Henry Rollins in the group at this time. A lot of cuts on this. Really good stuff. TV Party on there. And then another band that I was like Mars Volta, I was happy to see these reissues done. Discord reissued a lot of the Lungfish catalog. They did each one on color vinyl. So they did Rainbows from Atoms, which is one of their more rocking albums. And they did this on orange vinyl. I'll show you that. I'm trying to rip through these fast. And Discord reissues are almost identical to originals. I mean, just as far as sound and everything, they're beautifully done, and they're, you know, $13 to $15 max. Affordable reissues done, you know, high quality. The jackets are nice, the inserts are nice. You can't get a better value than Discord. You know, and they do it themselves. And they have ever since the beginning, from the porch. And so yeah, they did a bunch. They did, I think, 4 Longfish titles, Pass and Stow. And I have all the originals of these, but I mean, they're color vinyl, so I had to get them. It's the completest thing with this band. This one I think is green. And they redid the insert with the lyrics. Daniel Higgs is a freaking genius, and that's his artwork too. Amazing tattoo art. He does some books with art in them. He does some poetry. He does it all. Legend. Moving on to Sound and Time. Another great one from Longfish. This one I think is on gold, if I recall. Let's see. Yeah, this one's on gold wax. Gold being the theme this year. If you saw my Best of New Music of 2022, a lot of bands pressing to gold wax. I'm not sure what the deal was with that, but there's another one. And then one of my #1 albums ever, Indivisible from Longfish, the first album I ever heard from them. Real repetitive groove. Asa Osbourne on guitar is a legend. This one's on blue. A really nice one with a nice replication of the insert. It sounds really good. And my original copy of this is beat, so that was nice that they reissued that one. And then they also kept going with a lot of their catalog, and they reissued Repeater from Fugazi, the only Fugazi album I didn't have. And this is also on blue, I think. Again, these are all cheap. I got actually a couple more copies here for Joe to pick up. There's blue. And a freaking killer Fugazi LP. DC's finest. And then lastly, we got jazz and assorted stuff here. This is one that Maslow showed that turned me onto this. This was put out by Record Store Day. Reggae Hits and Rarities by the Queens of Trojan. Love Is All I Bring. This is fantastic comp that was released this year with all the female artists in reggae that were on the Trojan label. And there's a ton of great ones. Highly recommend this. Uptown Top Ranking, Althea and Donna, that opens. Primo stuff. And it just gets better as it goes along, this record. Also on, I think, gold wax too. There was a few Tone Poets I picked up, not many. Just because I have most of the Blue Notes I'd ever want. But there's a few that are just untouchable as far as like originals normally, or really difficult to find. So I picked up maybe 2 or 3. Don Cherry, Where is Brooklyn? So yeah, and a really, really good one with Henry Grimes on bass. Pharoah Sanders is here, rest in peace, and Ed Blackwell on drums. Of course, we recently lost Pharoah. This is one that Dom just got an original of. Harold Budd, The Pavilion of Dreams. Fantastic electronic record with Marion Brown on alto sax, Gavin Bryars on glockenspiel. There's some really cool players on this. Maggie Thomas on harp. This is a beautiful LP. Superior Viaduct, again, throwing their hat in the ring on these reissues. This was from Pharaohs in the Basement. This is some lost stuff, I think, from them. Really good jazz, funk, soulful greatness. Some African stuff thrown in from Pharaohs. Really good. RSD release. This is one that Tim, High Noon's Vinyl, turned me on to for RSD. That's Roy Ayers, Virgo Vibes. A difficult record to find. I've never seen an original, so this reissue was nice to get. Yeah, Joe Henderson, Charles Tolliver here, Reggie Workman on bass. What a lineup! Great Sun Ra reissue. The Sun Ra Orchestra meets Salah Ragab in Egypt with the Cairo Jazz Band. This came out in '83 originally, I believe. Yeah, and Strut Art Yard did the reissue. Completely out there. If you're looking to get into Sun Ra, this is not where to start. The stuff he did in Egypt is wild. There's a lot of horns on this from the Cairo Jazz Band. It is a massive, massive group, but this is fantastic. Was really happy this got reissued. John Berberian and the Rock East Ensemble, Middle Eastern rock, on Verve Forecast. Modern Harmonic also had a hand in putting this out. I think this was also RSD. Beautiful Middle Eastern music with the oud. John Berberian, you know, and he's got some other U.S. musicians with him here doing Middle Eastern stuff. Really good. This one's a fantastic release. Nico Zaba and the Natives. This is a hell of a spiritual jazz record. Really dig this. I had the cassette of this that I found in Greenville, so I was happy to see this put out on vinyl from Mississippi Records. This is a great LP. Originals are nuts. I'm never going to have an original of that, so I was happy that they reissued it. Some other great stuff. This is Masayuki Takiyanagi, fantastic free jazz guitarist from Japan. I'll never have originals of his stuff. So this is him with the New Direction unit, Eclipse, on Black Editions. Really out there. What an innovator on the guitar. Highly recommend checking him out if you're into the Avant free realm. And then also Masayuki Takiyanagi, New Direction, Station 70, Call and Question Live Independence, this box. This is one of my favorite releases of the year, if not my favorite. Freaking incredible. And just a beautiful packaging they did with this. I think it's 3 LP. Dream Queen by the Bobby Hamilton Quintet Unlimited. This was put out by Now Again. I'm not big on their releases as far as quality, and this is like, compared to all these others, this is the lowest quality jacket and sleeve and everything. It's pretty, it's as cheaply made as possible with the premium price for Record Store Day. But originals are impossible, so here it is. Bernie Grundman redid this from the Long Lost Master Tape on an all analog transfer. So yeah, really good jazz record here. One of my favorite jazz reissues, Fred Anderson and Hamid Drake from The River to the Ocean, two of my favorite players. Fred Anderson, great Chicago sax player. Hamid Drake, phenomenal drummer. This was originally only on CD, so this got reissued from Thrill Jockey. This is the double, God, it's really in there tight. I think it's on green vinyl. It's a limited version. Another one of those Tone Poets, one of these. This is a record, it's probably $700 now or some crazy amount. George Braith Extension. This is not what you would expect. This is really avant-garde and free with Grant Green. Yeah, it'll throw you for a loop. This is a fantastic album. George Braith, tenor, soprano, and alto. He did it all. Yeah, I was very happy this one got the Tone Poet treatment, or the classic series, whatever these are. Maybe it's a classic. Maybe that Don Cherry was a classic series, because those were cheap. They weren't what these Tone Poets are going for $40 after tax. Maybe it's just the classic series, so I misspoke. Another band I'm happy to see some reissues from, Nucleus, because originals are crazy. Alley Cat. And they also did Under the Sun. Great stuff with Ian Carr, Gordon Beck, all the best UK jazz musicians from the mid 70s. Here's a gospel LP. Pastor T.L. Barrett and the Youth for Christ Choir sings the Mount Zion Baptist Church in Chicago, Like a Ship Without a Sail. This has been sampled to death. It is a dope album. The band is killer on this. Holy shit, the bass and drums on this is off the chain. Here's a tone poet, the Blue Train, the Complete Masters. Fantastic stereo copy of that. So that's, yeah, the others were classic series. That's the only tone, that is the only tone poet I got. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, that is the only tone poet. Another reissue series of jazz has been this Verve by Request, and they did Roy Brooks' Beat. I was expecting a little more from this, but Roy Brooks really let the other musicians kind of have their way on this album, so it's not heavy on Roy here, like the Free Slave, which is way better. But it's good. There's a Joe Henderson written tune, a Duke Pearson tune, two Joe Henderson written tunes. And he lets a lot of these musicians play because they were, Detroit based, and weren't getting their due. So there was a really cool story behind this record, and it's pretty good. It's not my favorite, but originals are like $300 and something bucks, or just crazy prices on originals. So happy that was reissued. Steve Reed, another great drummer, Odyssey of the Oblong Square on Soul Jazz Records. This is originally on Mustevic Sound Records. Really difficult to find, and it's super expensive for the original, so this was a good one to get reissued. That one gets kind of out there. One of the absolute best, and I played a song from this on the John Coltrane Memorial Series, from the Mankunku Quartet out of South Africa, Yako Nkomo. Yeah, this is an incredible album. Highly recommend. This is on this crazy, I don't know if you can, probably can't even see it, but it's on this like a charcoaly swirl thing. Dedication to Daddy Train and Brother Shorter. VMP exclusive. This was sent to me as VCLT from Steve Carlson. Very thoughtful, and one of the most enjoyable listens of the year for me. Freaking amazing record. A very unexpected reissue. Tony Williams, Play or Die, and this is fusion, but still, I don't know. It's still different because it's a trio with Tony Williams on drums and percussion, Patrick O'Hearn electric bass, and Tom Grant keyboards. The keyboards start off kind of cheesy, but then he settles in, and it just becomes an absolutely dope LP. There's even vocals from Tony Williams on There Comes a Time on the last track that are absolutely fantastic. Tony Williams, a great drummer. This was a cool release. Originally came out in 1980. This was the most recent RSD. And one last RSD reissue. This is Zygmunt Namislowski from Poland, and Air Conditioned Follow Your Kite. Very difficult to find an original of this on the Polski Nagrania music label or whatever, or Musa label, excuse me. So this was a cool one, and this came on color vinyl as well, replicating the Musa label there. So yeah, kind of zipped through those. Still almost 30 minutes. That was the best stuff from 2022 for me. Peace, as far as reissues.